This is a second lecture regarding forensic pediatrics. Previously we discussed infanticide. Today we discuss child abuse. Child abuse, also known as non-accidental injury, Ambrose-Tardus syndrome, Caffey syndrome, Silverman syndrome, or battered child syndrome. Tardu was the French pathologist. He describes the features of child abuse in the year 1860. 100 years later, Caffey, well-known American radiologist, describes the head and limb fractures in young children of different ages. We discuss child abuse under following headings: definition, types, diagnosis, effects, causes, risk factors, prevention, treatment, and reporting of child abuse, which is mandatory. They vary according to the law of land. WHO define child abuse as it refers to any act or failure to act that violates the rights of the child, endangers his or her optimum health, survival, and development. Child abuse has serious physical and psychological consequences which adversely affect health. Most child abuse happens in the child homes and within some organization involving children, for example, residential schools, factories. As child abuse happens in child homes by the parents, guardians, or carers, so mostly it is not reported. Whenever a health professional has suspicion about the injuries, he must report to the competent authority who entitled to receive such information. Child abuse refer to a condition in young children, usually under age of 3, who present with injuries received as a result of non-accidental violence inflicted by a parent or guardian. Though undoubtedly physical, sexual, and psychological abuse occur right up to the puberty and even beyond. Types of child abuse: physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. Sexual abuse: the inducement or coercion of a child to engage in any unlawful sexual activity, pornographic performance, and prostitution. This inducement, a thing that pursues someone to do something, or coercion, pursuing by using force or threat, means without the will of the child. This is involving forcing or enticing a child to take part in sexual activities, whether or not the child is aware of what is happening. These activities include penetrative or non-penetrative acts, non-contact activities, viewing or producing pornographic material, watching sexual activities. The problem of sexual abuse and exploitation of children is global and has come to prominence more recently than the physical abuse. The sexual activity that violates the law of land, norms of society for sole intended gratification, satisfaction, and needs of other person by non-consenting children. Presenting symptoms. A child may present the following symptoms, although in general they are non-specific: sleep disturbance, abdominal pain, enuresis, encopresis, stool swelling, aphobia. The presenting signs which are more specific, these are abrasion or bruises of genitalia, acute or healed tear at the posterior aspect of hymen, injury to or scarring of the posterior fourchette, fossa navicularis or hymen, anal bruising or lacerations. Examination procedure of sexual abuse is same as in case of adult victim of sexual abuse, with slight difference. Consent depend upon age and capacity of the examinee or by the parent or guardian. Frog leg position to examine the genitalia. Frog leg position, that is hips flexed and the soles of the feet touching. This is slight different from that of the adult lithotomy position. Prone knee chest positions. The key aim is to ensure clear, full, and unambiguous examination of the genitalia and anal region respectively. A permanent record of the genital or anal injuries, they are photographed properly, are colposcope prints. Evaluating significant harm in sexual abuse, besides genital injuries, that is physical injury, possibility of sexually transmitted diseases, pregnancy, and short or long-term psychological or psychiatric sequelae. Therapeutic intervention may have priority over forensic examination. Whenever necessary, a child is traumatized or having severe injuries, the therapeutic intervention should be done prior to the forensic examination. Emotional abuse. The following acts which are within the control of the parent, guardian, or persons in a relationship of responsibility, trust, or power. Restriction of movement, pattern of belittling. The pattern of belittling is dismissed as unimportant. Denegating, criticize unfairly. Scapegoating, blame for wrongdoings of others. Threatening, discriminating, treating differently and unfairly. Ridiculing, making fun of the children, and other non-physical forms of hostile or rejecting treatment. These acts causes harm to the child's physical, mental, moral, spiritual, and social development. Six forms of emotional abuse described by American Professional Society as psychological maltreatment. These include spurning, a verbal, non-verbal, hostile rejection or degradation; terrorizing, a behavior that threatens or likely to harm physically the child or place the child or child's loved object in danger; exploiting, encouraging the child to develop in inappropriate behaviors; denying emotional responsiveness, that is ignoring the child's need to interact; failing to express positive effect of the child; showing no emotion in interaction with the child; isolating, denying the child opportunities for interacting and or communicating with peer or adults; mental health, medical or educational neglect; ignoring or failing to ensure provision of the child's need. Approach to address the issue: confirm the presence of harmful behavior of parent or carer. If intent of harm is present, must be notified to the authorities and keep the child into safe custody. Children at particular risk of emotional abuse: unplanned, unwanted children, disabled children, children who are ill, children of the wrong gender, children with behavioral issues, children in unstable or chaotic family settings, the overcrowding family setting. They are most vulnerable for the emotional abuse. Neglect. Neglect is the persistent failure to meet a child's basic physical or psychological needs, which is likely to result in the serious impairment of the child's health or development. Prolongation of neglect may have severe long-term physical, emotional, and social consequences. Physical neglect, deprivation of basic needs, food, shelter, clothing. Emotional neglect, failure to give love and affection and attention to the child. Medical neglect, failure to give necessary medical and surgical treatment. Failure to give immunization. Educational neglect. Features of neglect: age inappropriate with social skills, that is inability to use knife, fork, bedwetting and siling, inability to use toilet or potty, inability to self-dress, smoking, drug or alcohol misuse, sexual precocity, failure to attend school, or have a poor performance in school. Dirty assessment. Child may present with a dirty habitus, unkept child, ill-fitting, dirty or absent items of clothes, matted hair, knits lies, dirty uncut nails, local skin infection, excoriations, poor dental hygiene. Physical abuse. Physical abuse is the most common type of abuse, child abuse. Child may present with bruises, burns, biting, beating, other injuries, head injuries, ocular injuries, injuries to the chest, abdomen, joints, scalp, area of baldness. Black eye or periorbital hematoma, or raccoon eye. Six-penny bruises, grabbing, shaking caused by the fingertips. Butterfly bruises, twisting of the cheeks. Tram track bruises, reflect the object. Bruise over lips and ears. Suction bruises. Bruises are frequent, especially around the distal part of limbs, where the child has been gripped and shaken. Bruises of the scalp detected by palpation and tenderness, as they are not apparent due to presence of hair. Bruising of face extremely common, especially around mouth. Associated with laceration of the mucosa inside the upper lip near central line where perineum may be torn. These injuries represent striking on the mouth, often a side swab attempt to stop continuous crying of the child. Perineum may be damaged by forceful insertion of feeding bottle into the mouth. Bruises often circular due to fingertips pressure, or common around the joints of the upper limbs and on the neck, chest and abdomen due to poking or prodding. That is what we call pushing, especially with something narrow or pointed object like finger, elbow, stick. Bruises on either side of chest, behind, behind the axilla and down the anterior chest wall where the child has been gripped roughly between two adult hands and shaken. These types of bruise have adverse internal consequences. Internally, this form of trauma is responsible for the rib fracture. We discuss later on under heading of injuries to the chest. burns, burns, maybe cigarette burn or waterline burn marks. Are scalds. Intentional scalds are often immersion injuries caused by hot water, affecting the extremities, glove and soft distribution, hand and feet, and also perineum. They tend to be symmetrical with well-defined clear upper margins. This differentiates from unintentional scalp injuries, which is more prominent in elsewhere or in the upper extremity and having irregular margins. Biting. When a bite mark is present, the forensic odontologist must be incorporated. Beating. A pattern of inflected beating recognized as multiple linear marks, buckle marks, belt mark, whip mark, chain and rope mark. Head injuries. They are usually fatal, often leading to physical or mental handicap. These injuries ranges from subdural hematoma, accelerative injury, direct blow, decelerative injury from fall, violent shaking, also known as shaken baby syndrome, depressed or fragmented fracture of skull. Ocular injuries. External, there may be a periauricular ecchymosis or conjunctival hemorrhage. Internal, subluxation of lens, cataract, traumatic cataract, vitreous hemorrhage, in severe cases, retinal detachment. The ophthalmologist must examine the injuries of the child. Injuries to the chest causes rib fracture. As under a heading of the bruise, I told you that bruise over the either side of the chest and axilla causes internally fracture of the ribs. Multiple rib fracture which usually occurs along the posterior angle of the ribs, a short distance from the spinal column. The callus formation after a week or two may produce a characteristic radiological appearance known as a string of beads in the paravertebral gutter. This is the diagnostic feature of the rib injury. Injuries to the abdomen. This may range from the lacerated liver, torn bowel, and multiple fenestration of the mesentery. Dislocations of the joints by shaking and jerking, a spiral fracture from twisting arm or leg, a sprain injury to ligaments, overstretching, strain, injury to muscle, result in pain and swelling, hemorrhage of soft tissues, and area of baldness, which is suggestive of hair pulling. The limb injury to the joints and muscle in the limbs, fracture of the long bones may occur anywhere but are extremely common at epiphyses, which are only loosely attached in young children. Metaphyseal chipping and calcification beneath the sheath of long bone due to avulsion of the loose periosteum of infants present a characteristic radiological picture. Diagnosis. History. The parents and guardians may exhibit one or more of the following signs. Explanation or explanations given by parents does not correlate with the type and extent of the injury present on the child. Suppose these are the facile explanations for injuries. As the parent told, a child fell from my lap. He slipped from my arms and hit the pram handle. He slipped from the bed into the fireplace. On careful listening the history, a health professional doctor observed that there is a mismatch between the injury sustained and the explanation given by the parents. And the child has suffered from repeated injuries. Vary their visit to different health clinics for treatments of different injuries. A significant long delay between the time of injury and the time of presentation for medical care. They easily detected, suppose a bruise of green color, while the parents told that yesterday he fall from the bed, the child fall from the bed. So there is a long delay between the seeking medical help and the injury sustained. A careful examination by expert easily differentiate the injuries from accident. Child present with fracture of skull and fracture of tibia. Accidental injury claimed by parents, that is history of fall from stair. On examination, X-ray skull shows fracture which is fresh. X-ray tibia shows fracture with callus formation. The varying age of the fracture does not correlate with the history. So the case is easily diagnosed. Effect. Emotional effects. Low self-esteem, respect and admire, depression and anxiety, eating disorder, relationship difficulties, alienation means a feeling isolated, lose the support or sympathy, delinquency, a tendency to commit crime, and the withdrawal and personality disorders is commonly observed. Physical effects, the injury, lifelong health problem, cognitive difficulties, physical disabilities, and death. Behavioral effects, problem in school and workplace, delinquency, the tendency towards the crime, suicidal attempts, criminal or antisocial behavior, substance abuse, aggressive behavior, and anger. Psychiatric, psychological, and behavioral disorder persisting into the adulthood. There is also a clear increased risk of children who have been abused becoming abusers themselves as adults. Causes or risk factors. As mentioned earlier, many child abusers were themselves victims of abuse cycle, psychological disturbance and psychopathology among parents, mother's early age, even in early 20s, lack of education, history of child maltreatment, caregiver substance abuse, relationship between the parents, whether they live together, separation, single parent, divorce, cohabitation. Cohabitation is common in the Western society, living together without being validly married to each other. Step parents. When the mother is better, she has often been recently delivered or is again pregnant. Lack of social support. The isolated family is a frequent finding, often living away from the proximity of relatives and grandparents. The father may be the dominant partner, may have criminal record, unemployment, or socially unstable. Crisis in the family, families with more children. All social classes, even professional parents may better their children, but most cases come from the lower end of the social spectrum. Unhappy childhood experience in both parents. The risk factor related to child, premature birth, temperament of the child, mental retardation, emotional disturbance, and physical handicap. Diagnosis and treatment. That a multidisciplinary approach in diagnosis and treatment be followed. That there be a meticulous and thorough approach in all cases of suspected abuse. That a high index of suspicion be maintained, especially in cases of unusual or severe injuries to children. That great care is taken in maintaining record, that is permanent record, even photograph by photography, sketch, or any other way with correct diagnosis, because this is subjected to scrutiny in court of law when needed in later days dates. A physical trauma heals within days, months, but the memories require years to heal within appropriate atmosphere. If family or school environment is nurturing and supportive, the child will probably have the healthier outcome. Understanding the root cause of abuse can help better determine the best method of prevention and treatment. Reporting prevention. The prevention at the primary prevention level, secondary or tertiary. Primary prevention activities are targeted at community level with community and parent education. Secondary prevention activities are targeted to families who have more than one risk factor, as mentioned in previous slide. Tertiary prevention with or without court support. Child abuse prevention organizations ISPCN, International Society for Prevention Child Abuse and Neglect, SPARC, Society of the Protection of the Rights of the Child, UNICEF, Child Protection Bureau. Recently, Reham Khan built a rehabilitation center for street children. As the street children are more victim of the child abuse more frequently, it is a need of the time to make these street children to state children. Reporting of the child abuse. This depending upon law of land. Child abuse is mandatory reporting in most Western countries' jurisdiction. Agencies responsible for investigating child abuse are either managed nationally, regionally, or locally. Professionals such as doctors, paramedic staff, teachers are bound to report strong evidence of child abuse. A periorbital edema, black eye, raccoon eye type of the bruises. This is threatening multiple bruises over the face. Again, emotional abuse. Neglect and basic needs of food, shelter, clothing is not given to the child. Retinal hemorrhage, lens, subluxation, storm track, bruises over the cheek with the bruise over the eye, burning, biting, black eye. This is the consequences of continuous emotional abuse child having tendency towards antisocial behavior, verbal abuse, non-verbal, opacity in the lens, subluxation of the lens, scalp, skull injury. The rare type of child abuse is fictitious illness by proxy. also known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy, induced illness, factitious illness by proxy, fabricated illness by proxy. The term used to describe a setting in which a parent or carer presents a false history or appearance of illness of their child to the healthcare professionals. Motives. The motives behind such behavior are very complex and often not determined. Examples of reasons for parents or carers creating fictitious illness have said to include emotional relationship with the child, behavioral disorder, personality disorder, attention seeking, financial award of disability or career grants, wanting to establish relationship with healthcare professionals, seeking or support from families and friends. The features in illness by proxy, frequent visits to healthcare professional is observed, referral to different hospital specialists and many emergency departments. Illness cause is not typical of the illness described. Illness fails to respond to prescribed therapies. Parents or carers is very familiar with medical terminology. This is a rare presentation of a child abuse known as fictitious illness by proxy or Munchausen syndrome by proxy or induced illness or fabricated illness by proxy. Thank you very much.